House husbands. Would you want one? Is it a good idea? If your man, your husband, was a house husband, would you like him? Would you like it? Would you respect him? That's the real question, in my opinion. That's today's topic on the Mars Mindset. So, we've had shows on gender roles and all of that good stuff, and rings and weddings and all of that good stuff. And I figured today we're gonna go into that uncharted territory of the man making sure that the lines are in the carpet, the dishes are washed, the floors are swept, and the kids are taken care of. But he's not bringing in any revenue. How do you feel about that? So, let's get somebody in here to have the conversation. So, what's your name? This is your first time on the show. What's your name?
I'm Tracy.
Okay. Tracy, welcome to Mars Mindset. How you feeling today?
I'm okay.
Okay. Okay is better than not okay. So let's get straight to it. Would you be okay with the idea of having a house husband?
Um, um, a house husband. What that means? House husband.
Do you know what a housewife is?
Yes, stay home and take care of kids and clean, cook, wash clothes.
Very good. Yes.
I'd rather do that than go to work.
So, so you would rather do that than go to work, but would you be okay with your husband doing that?
Well, not exactly because I don't know if I can work for a long time. I mean, like long hours, I mean. So it would be kind of, unless he's gonna work half and half and I work half and he stay home sometime and then I stay home sometime.
Oh, not. And in this hypothetical, he not working at all. You bringing in all the money, all the finances are all on you. And he's gonna stay
Oh
home.
no, I think I'll feel pressured.
You feel
Cause
pressured.
then if he's not working, then I'll be the only one with the money, and then he's gonna want me to also, pay for his stuff too, and then I gotta figure out everything by myself, so it's gonna be hard.
Well, that doesn't sound fair because if you're willing to be a housewife, isn't that what he has to do?
Yes.
That sounds a bit unfair.
Yeah, but I'm gonna be so stressed, I think.
So okay,
I rather if it's 50-50. Like okay, so if he works sometimes and stay home sometimes, and then I work sometimes, stay home sometimes. Yeah.
okay. So
Yeah.
my newcomer Tracy
Yeah.
would rather her husband go to work and carry the stress of working than her in the hypothetical, but in the real world, she's okay.
50-50. I could work in the day and then he could work in the night.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So you saying y'all could do like split shifts, like you do some of the work, he do some of the work, and y'all both carry. So if y'all are splitting it 50-50, is he still responsible for the work around the house too, or no?
Um no, I'll help do the chores sometimes, but he could help sometimes too. Yeah.
Okay, so you on the 50-50 train. All right, Tracy, well, we appreciate you coming on to the show. You are more than welcome back anytime you would like. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
All right, you have a good
Have,
one.
thank you. Have a good day.
You too. Peace. Julie Bean,
Hi, how are you?
I'm a little tired,
How
but
many
I guess
hours
that's
of
okay.
sleep did you get?
About 2 hours.
Well,
Um,
there you go.
but that's okay. So, Julie Bean, don't say Julie Bean, house husband. Would you want one?
If I'm making good money and he was good at those things, absolutely. I do not mind.
Do you think there would be a lack of respect for him?
No, because raising kids and maintaining a household is a job in itself. So I mean, not for me. I don't know about other people, but I wouldn't. I respect a man who can do what we do and still work because we do it anyway. We still raise the kids. We still maintain the household, and we still work. So if he can do that, there would be
But
so
he
much
not.
respect for
But
that.
he not working though.
Right. So, but if the roles were reversed, are you saying that housewives are less respected?
No, I'm saying there's a different expectation on women than there is on men.
Okay, I understand. But we are reversing the roles now, right? So if the expectation is that he do what the housewife did,
Mm-hmm.
then I don't see where the disrespect would come in. Because the expectation is set that he is now assuming that role.
Well, the respect part comes in is because the expectation of men in general is for us to protect and provide. And in today's society, providing means some form of financing, right? Like money. So when you have a man that doesn't bring in money, typically you can see why someone would feel some kind of way about that. Now,
So so would you be okay in a situation where to maintain respect the man will go work even though he's making less money than the woman? Like
so I don't say say the question again so I can know what it is that you're asking me.
let's say that both of them are working, but for whatever reason one of them has to stay home. For respect reasons, would it make sense for him to go work even though the woman is making more money? That don't make sense to me.
Nah, I think to me that's kind of an outlier where one of them have to stay home, right?
Yeah.
Because that would just be a situation that would come down to pure mathematics, right?
And that's how I see it. Like, who makes more money? Okay, then you stay home. And that's it.
Yeah, but this is a choice, right? Like housewives typically don't have to be housewives; they choose to be housewives, right? In a situation, in the hypothetical that you're presenting, it just be straight mathematics. Like we're surviving here, so whoever's bringing home the most money is the one that's going to go to work. If one of us have to stay at home, right?
But that's how I see it just in general. Like, if only one has to work, then mathematically it would make most sense for whoever is making the most money. Not I'm the man, so I go to work, even though I'm gonna make less money and we're gonna struggle a little bit more. Like that to me don't make sense.
But in what you're talking about is if one of them have to stay at home, right?
No, I'm just talking about in general. Like in
Okay,
general.
so okay, so Julie, let's say that you made $100,000 a year,
Okay.
right? Which is enough for us to survive off of. And I have the potential to make $50,000 a year, but I say, you know what, Julie, you know what I think I'd rather do? I'd rather stay at home and keep the house clean and watch the kids. Would you be okay with that? Now I don't have to be at home. I don't. We can send the kids to school. I don't have to be at home. I can go make that 50, but that's what I want to do. I want to be a house husband.
Like if the kids are young and need to be, raised, then I would be okay with that. But if the kids are of a certain age and he just wants to be lazy and just not work,
Mm-hmm.
then no, I wouldn't be okay with that.
So if you flipped it, and I'm not trying to make a point, I'm just looking at the opposite. If you flipped it and the kids were of age to where they didn't need someone home, do you think it's okay for women to stay at home and be housewives even though the kids don't need them there? Or do you think the women should go to work too?
I think if it were me, I would want to go to work. Like I see like the housewife and the house husband up to a certain age where you got small kids and they need a parent, for however many hours throughout the day. Like they need that attentiveness. But after, like, if they're in their teens and they're doing activities and sports and stuff, like, really, what are you doing throughout the entire day waiting for your kids to come home in the evening? And this is a general question for both like men and women, to to justify that you don't want to work because you're maintaining the house.
Yeah, like I just like for man or woman, there's you make enough money or I make enough money for us to do what we need to do, and we'll say I make enough money for us to do what we need to do, and my wife decides, you know what, I'm tired of going to work. I don't want to work anymore, and I don't have to go to work. So, it's your opinion based on what you're saying is anyone who can work should work outside of age or some other, disability.
I think so because unless you guys have a plan, right? Like for me, for example, I have business goals that I'm trying to achieve. So if my partner and I are able to work for however many years and like, make together as much money as possible, I think that's the best route to take. I mean, that's not permanent, but I feel like you're settling. If you say, well, I make 100,000 a year and we don't have small children anymore, but you just want to relax and you're not even in your 50s yet. I feel like you still got a little bit in you. Like, why y'all can't both work?
So, Julie, you have expectation of people to go to work. So you're okay with the idea of a house husband or a housewife if it's because we're taking care of young kids. But once the kids aren't young and they don't need to be taken care of, everybody needs to go to work.
I mean, that's me because I have goals. Like I'm not, inflation. 100,000 ain't that much anymore.
The equivalent of 100,000. I just use that because most people who make $100,000 are doing decent. They're not
Yeah.
right. They're good. They paid all their bills. They got a nice car. They do a little investing. Nate,
What's up?
how you feeling?
I'm feeling good. How about you all?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I appreciate you because you always buy my merch.
Yes.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I always wear it, and they ask me where I get it from, and I tell them I don't know if they come and purchase, but I do let them know where I get it from.
Yeah, I get some sales. I'm still getting sales. I get sales here and there. I'm not even somebody who check it day in and day out. I go in every once in a while. But I sold a couple T-shirts. Sold some. But people take their time back.
Right.
So in the comments, in the pinned comment, you say yes. You start to resent them. Been there, done that. So are you saying you've been in a situation where you had something to the equivalent of a house husband and you resented him for it?
Well, mine didn't have anything to do with who made the most money or anything like that. I had our son, and he was laid off at the time. So when it was time for me to go back to work after the 8 weeks of being off, he decided that he would just keep the baby instead of you trying to find, daycare and stuff like that. The problem that I had was when I got home, the house wasn't clean, the laundry wasn't done. You know what I'm saying? It's stuff all on the counter from him, feeding the baby. I mean, it's just, he did not do what a woman would do if she were a housewife. So then, yes, I come home. I done been at work all day. He might cook because he likes to cook. So he might have cooked, depending on the day, but nothing else was done. So then I'm still coming in from work, picking up, cleaning up, doing laundry, so I felt like I was still doing double work while he's sitting at home looking at TV or whatever he was doing all day with the baby. So yes, there was some resentment that came with that.
Okay, but it sounds like your issue wasn't so much with him being a house husband. It was
Right.
his inability to be a good house husband.
Exactly. Yes.
So okay, that ideology, if my wife were a housewife and I came home and none of that stuff was done, it would be okay for me to have an issue with that, right?
It would. It would.
But if if you came home and the house was spick and span and the kids didn't have any eye boogers and everything was good, you like, hey, it's all good. I'm with it.
Everything would be good, right? But it wasn't. And I think that's the problem. Women would do, they're going to clean more. They're going to make sure that the laundry is done. The kids' bedrooms are straightened up, stuff like that we think about that men just innately don't. And with him, I would say like, you didn't do this, or you didn't vacuum, dust, all of that little stuff, Windex, the glass in the house, I'm talking about for real cleaning. And he didn't do any of that. And I'm just like, so what have you been doing all day? Like, what would take me a couple of hours? You've been here all day and none of this was done?
What would his response be? This is intriguing to me. Like, what would his response be? I just want to be a fly on the wall.
You know what his response was?
What?
He was taking care of the baby.
Nah.
Exactly. But the woman is supposed to take care of the baby, clean the house, have the dinner cooked, all of that. Bath water ran, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But a man is not going to do all of that. So yes, you do start resenting them because of that.
Yeah, but you resented. I'm sorry. Can I?
No, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh,
Go ahead.
that feeling of resentment came because on top of you working, you had to work some more when you got home.
Exactly.
But if he would have been on his job at home, then it would make sense, because it's like you guys are working together.
Right.
Well,
Okay.
that's not fair.
It was like a double-edged sword, because we were saving a lot of money instead of paying for daycare. Daycare is like outrageous. Well, it was back then. So in that aspect, it was okay that he was at home, and he was laid off at the time anyway. So it just helped, with saving some money. But it still pissed me off every time I walked in there and the house was not clean. And I still felt like I still had to do stuff.
And you were saving money at your expense.
Correct.
That's not fair.
And it's not like I was at I wasn't at no desk sitting all day. I'm a nurse. So I was working. I'm straight working. Walking halls, walking floors, turning, pushing, picking up, I'm doing all that patient care. And I'm tired when I get home. Well, I was then. I don't work the floor anymore. But, so I come home, I'm ready to chill, sit down, play with the baby. But I couldn't, because I still saw stuff that needed to be done, because I don't like stuff out of order. So then I would have to get it in order.
Okay, so you brought up something too. You brought up the saving money aspect. Let me ask y'all's opinion on this. Now you might have a real answer, Julie. I guess for you it would be a hypothetical. What about the idea of him having to use your money for things that he may want just for himself, right? Not things for the house, but things for himself. Like, what does that look like, right?
Right?
She dropped her head.
I know.
He was defeated.
But there's more to this. There's more to this than keeping lines in the carpet and having, spick and span countertops.
So is it? What else is it?
The money aspect. What I'm saying, I guess what I'm asking is like, when he wanted something for himself, was there a problem with him basically just spending the money that you had made? Or were you just okay with it? For himself, right?
I don't actually, now that I think back, because this is what it is. We always had a separate savings account. I had an account, he had an account, and then we had an account together that we took care of all like the, household stuff. So mainly he probably had his own money to buy whatever he needed. But if there had been some shells.
Now, where's this money coming from? Where's the money?
That was going to be my next question.
Where's what money?
His money.
Oh, money that he already had before he got laid off.
But I'm saying, when that money run out, let's say that money runs out, right?
Okay.
Okay, I'll give you a hypothetical, right? He's a stay-at-home husband. Marchello said, "No job." Stay-at-home husband, right? And I'm not gonna make it a Porsche or anything, Dr. Hall. But he goes into y'all's bank account because he don't have no money in his bank account because he didn't.
Wait a minute, wait. Without me knowing?
Yeah.
Oh no.
I didn't even tell you what the man bought yet.
No, but still, without me knowing?
Hold on, Nate. That don't sound fair now. You're being unreasonable.
How is she being unreasonable if she's the one that puts the money in the
You
account?
know what I mean? You
I'm
know
gonna
what I
tell,
mean, Julie?
I'm gonna
Right.
I'm gonna tell you why. Because for one, she didn't give me a chance to say what it was that he went and bought.
Okay, well, say
Okay.
that in the front.
No,
Okay, what did he buy?
he went and bought a PlayStation 5.
Oh,
Oh,
please. No. It would be going back. So that he can play that all day and really don't do anything at the house?
But see, this is what I think though. I agree with y'all. I'm just playing devil's advocate a little bit because I think that if my wife wanted to stay at home, so okay, so my mom was a stay at home mom, so I'm cool with stay at home moms, right? I think it's a good thing.
Right.
That's just how I see it. If my wife decided that she wanted to be stay at home and I was cool with it because I make it, and then she went out and bought something that cost $500, I think, and I had an issue with it. I don't think y'all would have the same position that y'all have. I think y'all would be like, "Come on, Chell. She taking care of the kids. She cleaning the house. It's spick and span. She's doing all the right things she's supposed to do, right?"
That part, right? Because she's
but he's
doing
not doing
all
that.
of that. Now, if he was
He's not
doing
doing that.
all of that, then it wouldn't be a problem. But because when I come home, I'm still doing part of that, then it's a problem.
Oh, okay, okay.
You're rewarding him for
Sitting there and feeding the kid every, 4 hours or something, the baby, changing his diaper all day. You know what I'm saying? That's
Okay.
all you're doing.
Okay, so let's set it like this then. Our hypothetical house husband does all the things that he's supposed to do.
Okay.
Right? Somebody's trying to get in the room. Let's see. Okay, Mikhail's trying to get in the room.
Mikhail.
Uh-oh.
And I was gonna ask him to come in because I asked him if he's interested. We could like band together and be house husbands.
Uh-oh.
Like, let me in.
Uh-oh.
What up, baby?
Uh-oh.
How you feeling?
I'm good.
Would you be interested in being a house husband?
I'm torn because for once I'm agreeing with the ladies on one hand, but on another end, like if he would have went and bought that game, he might have been dealing with some mental stuff, and that might have been his release. He might just
What mental stuff? What mental stuff would he be dealing with?
Well, just the mere fact, I'm going off experience. I was out of work before.
Okay.
And I was home.
Okay.
But I ain't gonna toot my own horn, and my wife ain't in here. But they would tell you, I ran that house better than them.
Oh, well, that was
Clean,
great.
cook. Now, certain things I didn't want to do, like I always wash my own clothes, but when it came to all the kids' clothes and stuff like that, I do the drop-off service. I'm just gonna tell you, I do the drop-off service. But even though I was in a state where I was unable to work, it wasn't that I was laid off or anything like that. I was unable to work medically at this particular time. But I still went out and worked. I would go drive Lyft at times just to make some fast money, right? But I did take care of the home while they were gone. So I can't relate to that part. But I'm just thinking, for a man to be out of work, that got to mess with him. Not to be able to provide, that got to mess with him.
He chose to stay with the baby though, because like you could be out of work and say, look,
That might have been the best choice because, if you looking at the incomes, maybe you made more. So he just made the logical choice because we think logically. Like, do it make sense for me to go out and bust my ass and work 2 jobs and never be home, or let her go do it while I find the right job?
So how does that choice that he made? So how are you supposed to understand his mental? I don't understand. Like, if he made that choice, right? Are we supposed to feel bad for his mental state, even though he made that choice?
I'm not saying feel bad for it. I'm saying understand it. Where it's coming, it might have came from a place of being logical and not, I really want to make this choice.
And it did. It was a logical choice. And he was laid off basically for medical reasons too. He was a fireman and he got hurt. So
Okay.
he was also, I forgot to tell you that too, Chelsea. So he was also getting workman's comp,
Okay.
as he was off. So some money was still coming in on his part. But because he was off at that time, and it just so happened to be at the same time that I was getting ready to go back to work from delivering our son and from being off, then that's when we chose for him just to, stay at home and keep the baby instead of trying to go do the daycare because it was expensive. Um, but that's not the problem, and that still has nothing to do with whatever mental state he was in. He still did not do what he was supposed to do while he was at home every day with
Was
the
it not
child.
what he was supposed to do, or was it not up to your standards?
No, it was stuff he
Because
was
some
not doing. He wasn't, like I said, he might cook because he likes to cook and he thinks he's this big chef. So he probably did cook. I mean, this was a long
clean
time
up
ago. My son is 17 now, but he cooked and dinner would be ready, but the kitchen would be trashed, like everything out on the counter. Living room not picked up. Just nothing else was done.
Hold on. So my wife made a good point. She said he gets no credit for taking care of the baby and saving y'all the cost of daycare. That's
Ooh.
right. Because if you think about it, right, he is doing something. He is taking care of the kids, right? He is cooking. Maybe he's a messy cook, but a good one, right? And he's not cleaning to the standards that you would like him to. But if you were to calculate, say, over a 6-month span, the amount of money that y'all are saving in daycare, that $500 PlayStation, it's really not that much of a percentage
So
for
yeah,
his for his for his mental state for taking care of these kids all day long.
so he did get, I mean, he gets credit for taking care of the child, but we're still talking about in comparison with a woman. If a woman was a stay-home mom,
Mm-hmm.
she would take care of that baby all day. The dishes would be cleaned. The house would be cleaned. If it's, depending on the woman. The laundry would be done. You know what I'm saying? Uh, Carpet vacuum, kitchen swept. All of that would be done in a day's time for a woman. But some men are not like that. And I just so happened to have one that was not like that.
my mental that I'm getting is you, him, and a baby. Am I wrong in thinking that at that time it was you, him, and just the baby, right?
And then we had another daughter that was 5 years old, but she was at school. So I would take her
So
to
who was tearing
school,
the house?
go to work. Wait, I would take her to school, go to work, pick her up from after school care after I get off work, and then we would come home. He didn't even
Nah,
have to go pick up
nah,
the
nah,
baby. I mean,
no.
the daughter. You know
Is that,
what
So
I'm saying,
you
Julie?
that
you're
because
the
you didn't buy him a car?
you're the
What?
transportation person. What did he say?
What?
Okay, I'm sorry.
He had a car?
So you
Wait,
still had to
wait.
transport.
Hold on, one at a time, because it's gonna cut the audio out. Julie, what are you saying?
So you still had to on top of your work, you still had to take and return another child to and from school, and then continue to work when you got home. Like, you're saving money in daycare, but do the math on how much more work you're doing when you get home too.
Exactly, Julie. That's what I'm saying. And yes, it does cause resentment. And
Okay.
after a while, I was like, I'll pay for the daycare when you go back to work because I'd rather just do it myself than to see you sitting here chilling every time I walk in, and you haven't done anything all day and I'm tired as hell.
See, this example is why, as a man, if I can go to work, I don't care how much money you making. I could be married to Oprah. Look, Oprah, I'm going to work
Mm-hmm.
because I want my PS5, or I want to go to the football game, or I want to do something. You're not going to tell me that I can't do it because I ain't clean the toilet the right way.
But
I,
but
I
it's
didn't say he couldn't do it.
But yes, you
Charles.
said you have an issue with him buying the PlayStation.
I
Charles,
would.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
Charles.
Yeah. Yes, Julie.
If so, because you guys are leaving out a very, very significant piece.
Yes.
It's not that he didn't clean it right or he can't spend the money. It's that after she came home from her real job, she's still working some more in her home.
I
And
get,
they're
but I
like
don't.
that.
But I'm not giving you any pushback on that. I haven't said anything about that though.
But what you're saying is like you would rather go to work. But let's use the real example. Maybe you could just clean up a bit or do something in the house while you're home all day to alleviate the responsibility from your partner. That's it.
I agree, but that's what I'm saying. I'm not giving you any pushback on that. But if my wife were to stay at home, right, and I was the breadwinner, and she wasn't cleaning to my standards, and we've agreed that she was going to be at home, and then she went out and bought something for herself that was $500 because she says, you know, this helps me relieve my stress of dealing with the kids all day. I'm not going to have a problem with that. I'm not going to equate her performance as a housewife with her buying something that's good for her mental state.
But you said cleaning to your standards. That means she was doing some cleaning.
No,
right?
I'm saying if she wasn't being a housewife, because to me, like, we're really talking about taking care of the kids, right? And then all of the cleaning, I'm talking about from a man perspective, right? Or from my perspective, I should say. You taking care of the kids, that in itself is enough to be doing something, is enough to get credit for it. My basic point is that if you're my housewife and that's something that we've agreed upon, right? We've agreed upon this. And you went out and you bought something that you felt was good for your mental health, because thanks, Marchello, for bringing that in, because that was a very good point, right? I don't think I would equate her performance as a housewife to what she buy for her, for her mental state. That's just what I think. I've never been in a situation. You have, so you know better than I do. I'm just thinking, like, I don't think I would equate it. I don't think I would say to her, you know, you went out and bought a PlayStation, or you went out and bought this really nice vanity, and you ain't even cleaned it. I don't think I would equate the two.
Okay, but what do you expect as a housewife? What do you expect? Do you expect for the house to be clean when you come home?
Yes, but I'm not giving you any pushback.
Okay. You expect for the house to be clean, right?
Yes.
What about dinner? You expect for that to be cooked?
I mean, I like to eat out, but if she wants to cook, that's fine.
Okay. You expect for the child to have on clean clothes and look presentable?
Yes.
Okay. And you expect for, like, if they've cooked, you know, that they've straightened up the kitchen. I mean, you know, house just not looking like you've been sitting there all day doing nothing. I mean, like they have been sitting there doing nothing all day.
Yes, I agree with you. Everything you said, I agree with.
Exactly. So if all of that is taken care of, then yes, she can go out and buy a vanity or whatever it is that she needs. But if you come home and none of that is done, are you feel the same way about her going out and getting a vanity?
Listen, that's what I'm telling you. I don't think that I would equate the two.
Oh, okay.
I understand why you do. You know what I'm saying? I understand why someone would, because it's really like, what value are you bringing? But I just don't think I would equate the two. I never thought of it that way.
Maybe it's because you said a PS5. Maybe if it was something different, it wouldn't be so bad, you know what I mean? But because you said a PS5, that to me is like a picture in my head. Now he's sitting there playing that game all day and not doing anything.
Well, hold on. But I switched it up for the female because I'm sitting in front of my wife's vanity. I do this show in front of my wife's vanity. Okay. It's a $700 vanity, right?
Right.
And I bought it as a gift, but she could be sitting there doing her makeup. You know what I'm saying? Now, I would say I would probably be like, yo, like, you sitting here doing your makeup in front of the vanity and the house ain't clean. That's a problem. What I'm just saying is I don't particularly think I would have an issue with her buying the vanity.
I wouldn't have an issue with him buying something, or I wouldn't have had an issue with him buying something, but I probably would have had an issue if it was a PS5.
Even easier than this.
Marchello, what you about that? What?
I'm baffled. I'm like, huh?
Because to me, that just means that you're really not going to do anything now. If you got
but here's what I used to tell. Here's what I used to tell my family, right? I used to say, if I'm leaving out the house and you're sitting on the couch, and when I come back to the house, you're still in the same spot on the couch, the perception is you've been sitting there all day doing nothing.
Okay.
Right? That's the perception. Because you're in the same spot. When you could have got up, you could have did a million things in there and then went back and sat in that same spot. Now, I didn't get that till I was put in that situation. Cause like you sit here all day doing nothing. Like, what are you doing all day? You're not doing nothing.
Mhm.
And some things are out of place. So I'm thinking, okay, the house is a mess. You didn't clean up. You didn't do nothing. Until I was in the situation, and I realized watching them kids is a full-time job. So you could be picking up after them all day. There's times that we cleaned. It was clean in there, and then 5-10 minutes before they got home, the kids was playing and messed back up. Or like you done dinner and now dinner is ready and now it looks a mess again. You know what I mean?
But you
Because
can
I've done
it was
dishes after breakfast. I've done dishes after lunch, and then sometimes when the dinner comes, I ain't got the energy right now to do them. I'll get to them in a second. So
That's true.
perception was you sitting around, you ain't doing nothing. The house is a mess. When actually you've been working all day.
That's true, Michael. But if you know the house is still looking the way it looked when you left, or worse, then you know they haven't done anything.
The show is introducing Fritz Coldcock.
Melissa.
Hello. Hey.
Hey,
Hi, everybody.
hello.
I haven't had you in a while. Yes, darling, you could give me some DQ. I haven't talked to you in a while. How you feeling?
I want some
I'm doing
Derek.
all right. I'm doing all right. I just got home from the gym, so I was out heading in the house, and I was like, let me sit out here and watch a little bit, walk around the yard a little bit, and then you got me all fired up a little bit.
Well,
Because
I won't keep you long. I just want to know, would you be okay with the idea of a house husband?
I would. I absolutely would. And I will say this, though. If you had asked me this question a few years ago, I'd have said hell no. Right? Because society puts this pressure on women to not support men, right? Like you don't let a man use you, and you better make sure he paying all the bills, or he's a provider, yada yada yada. I no longer feel that way. Now I feel like it's whatever works in your relationship. So in my relationship, if I made enough money and I enjoyed the work I did, making the money, I would have no problem with the husband being at home and taking care of home. No problem.
I like that. Let's say he took care of home, but he's like, Nate, you still married to the house husband?
Separated.
Okay. You're like Nate, separated husband. I mean, y'all's relationship is like hers, where that he takes care of the kids and he cooks, but some of the other stuff that he would supposed to do as a house husband isn't really being fulfilled. Would you have an issue with that?
I would have an issue, but it's one of those things where, you know what we always say, communication. Now, if I've been communicating to you that, hey, I feel like you're not fulfilling your part of the deal, and you continue to not fulfill your part of the deal, then I'm going to really have a problem with that.
Okay, I like that. So now we're talking about communication and expectation. So you have communicated to him that he's not cleaning and stuff the right way.
And then hell no, he better not go out and buy a PlayStation 5.
Hold on.
That's what I'm saying.
Hold on.
I think what we missed, and Julie just said it, I think what we missed is she's not saying that he didn't clean to her standards. She's saying he didn't do it at all.
Right. I got
Let me say this, Chels.
I missed that. I'm sorry.
Let me say this, Chels. I hear you completely on the not tying their worth to their mental health, to, you know, whatever they need to be mentally healthy, right?
Right.
But I'm also be as much of a realist as you know me to be. How much strain is on your mental health that's not on mine if I got to get up and go to work every day? If I got to pay all the bills, if I then have to come home and fix or pick up on the shit you ain't getting done,
That part.
but you need something for your mental health?
Well,
Where?
My response to that would be, I've been at home with Libby and Finn all day long, days, and it's a mental health thing, right?
So right, and I get that. I
Right.
really do. But here's my thing. I would assume that in this situation, husband is okay being house husband. Husband has been chosen to be house husband.
Okay.
So husband should be prepared for the fact that your responsibility, just like it would be if it was housewife, your responsibility is dealing with these kids, taking care of this house, making sure that when I come home from working all day, I don't have to continue to work in my own home. Now, I'm not saying that that person shouldn't have to do anything when they walk in the door. That's not realistic.
Uh-huh.
But it certainly shouldn't be like, I shouldn't feel like I'm coming home to job number two.
But
Right.
responsibility and ability are two different things because he might not have
I
been.
agree.
He might have took off more than he could chew.
I agree. Which is why
So
I said
how long did
communication.
it go on? Was there an adaptation period? You know what I mean?
I agree.
Where he was getting used to it because now he's taken out of his main element of being a provider, and now
Hmm.
house husband. You know what I mean? That's a totally different.
Yeah.
And I'm talking from experience because
Right. But
I had
that's why I said if she's
I,
been
I had
communicating it, right?
swear to God, I
If
take my head off to y'all because y'all some superpowers. Y'all got some superpowers. You know what I mean? And I had to step up to the plate, but it was a transition period. You know what I mean? It
Mm-hmm.
wasn't
so let
just
me
like,
ask, can I ask you a question?
uh-huh.
My question to you is, did you communicate that to your wife or your partner? Did you say, look, I know I might be falling a little short, but this is way more, you know what I mean? That's why I say the communication is important. Was your side communicated that, hey, I'm struggling a little bit. This is more than I thought it would
Back
be.
then, no. Back then, no. It wasn't. It was like I just gotta get this shit together. I gotta do better. Like this is crazy. Like, yo, this is what you do. This is what you was doing. Like, what the hell?
And had he responded like that, it would have been okay. But that's not how you
Right, exactly. That's why I
respond.
asked that. I really
Right.
feel like that's why I asked that question because I really feel like if I come to you, that's why I keep stressing communication for real. Because if I come to you and say, look, I'm not really satisfied with the way you doing this house husband thing, right? If you then come back to me and say, babe, look, I know I'm falling short, but this is a lot. Like I didn't know you was doing all. Then we can sit down and have a conversation with, okay, so this is how I do this. This is how I make sure this gets done. I do this while the kids nap, or I do this while they watch this show, or whatever I've done to be successful. I can share that with you. But if you take it on and then you don't tell me you having problems, and all I see when I come home is this shit ain't getting done. Like it's just not now. I got to get it done. That's when it becomes a problem. And real talk, that's when you going out and buying something that. And I've said PlayStation 5. That's a trigger for most women.
Well, hold on, hold
Is
on,
it
hold on.
really?
But see,
Oh my God, yes.
that's what I do to people. I pick something and I know they're gonna be like, "What? You gonna go buy a
Yeah.
PlayStation?"
Yeah, because the PS5 in most cases is equated with, unless you're a gamer, it's a time waster, right? And that's not in a bad way. I'm not saying that negatively, but it is. It's a way to pass time. And
Right.
if you already ain't getting shit done, what you need something that's gonna take up your time for? You got plenty to do with your time,
Well,
bro. You can be doing this laundry.
all right, so
Right.
let me play devil's advocate, right? And it's gonna probably be a terrible job, but I'm just doing it just for the sake of it. Because I agree with y'all with everything. I just don't equate the two. I just don't equate
I
them
got you. I got you.
because of the stress that it takes for me being a house husband and raising these kids. I figure if I were to get an hour or hour and a half a day of PlayStation time while they take the nap, my mind would be more clear and refreshed for me to be able to go do the other things that you want me to do. Because then I would feel like I'm not constantly in the house doing a bunch of stuff. It gives me something to really actually do and enjoy. And I have the PS5 now, Melissa.
No.
Oh,
And
It
see,
is. Let
I
me
get
say
what you're
this.
saying, Kels. I get what you're
I
saying,
do
but for me, it
too.
was a little different. Like, I was never a gamer. I never played video games like that. Once in a blue moon. So for me, it was music. Maybe sitting at the piano or something like that, and just taking a breather for that moment.
yeah.
But sometimes you need that during the day. I'm not saying,
I
like y'all
agree.
equated with he got a game. That's what he's doing all day. It could just be for an hour or two. You
Right.
know what I
But that's
mean?
what I've been ready to say. I think that question is hard to answer until you see how. And I put that when I first joined. I said it's not really the purchase; it's how you gonna use the purchase, right? So if I can trust you. Real talk, if I can trust you to keep it at that hour while the kids are napping and everything else is being done, then I'm not gonna trip. But the real honest to God truth is with gamers, with me with a book, a PS5 for me is a book, right? You put a book in my hand, I'm gonna tell myself all day, I'm gonna just read it for an hour. I'm gonna just read this chapter. And when I look up, 3 hours then passed because that book then got good to me. And I feel that in most cases, unless dude is super disciplined, that 1 hour on that PlayStation gonna become 4 or 5, and even more is not gonna get done. That's what women fear anyway. That's why when we hear PS5, we just like, I don't know about that.
Right.
Now let me ask the question. What was there just could there just have been a problem area? Like for me, there's just something that a couple things I won't do. Like I don't feel like doing the yard work, even though I had a ride on mower. I didn't feel like doing it. I paid somebody to do it. And the laundry, when I did do it, I never folded and put it away. I wash, dry. It's in the basket. It's yours now. You know. But that's why I started doing the drop off service. So was there some things that it didn't matter? He just wasn't doing because he wasn't into doing, and
For me,
maybe that was a problem area for him and for you.
no, baby, he just wasn't doing it.
I'm trying to save him.
No, he's okay. So what he does in his spare time, he has the PlayStation and what was the other thing, the Xbox and all that. And he does that sometimes, but he does a lot of reading. He does read books, and he does a lot of internet searching and looking up stuff. Just any question you ask him, he knows about it. He's one of those. So I know that that's what he was doing all day when he wasn't taking care of the baby. So my thing is, you can do that after I get home, just as long. And I'm not saying the house had to be spick and span, but at least look like you've done something except for sitting there all day and maybe changed a couple of diapers and fed the baby. That's all I ask. And then when I would say something about it, then it would be an argument, and it still would never get done. So after a while, yeah, the baby went to a daycare and he took
back to work.
Yeah, and he went back to work.
Okay. Yeah. Like I said, I'm trying to. I can see y'all's perspective because, like, I guess if I came home and there's a new vanity that costs $500, I can see why somebody would be like, "Yo, you just bought a $500 vanity and this house ain't even clean," right? I get that. I'm just not sure my mental software works to connect the two, and it may be simply because my mom was a stay-at-home mom.
But I bet your mother had everything right when you came in that house.
Yeah.
Done, and cookies was baked, all that.
Well, my mom ain't no cook, but my mom can cook, but she never really enjoyed cooking. Mm-hmm. I'm just thinking, like, if I have the money for it, I don't really care what my wife buys. As long as I didn't feel like it was excessive, right?
That was going to be my question, right? So because I'm not married. My question is, do you have a dollar amount that requires discussion or certain purchases that require discussion? Because I would think, and maybe it's just because I'm a tightwad, right? And I'm used to just doing for me. I would think $500 ain't a little bit of money to me. So I would think that before I go drop $500 on something that's only going to benefit me, I know in the long term it affects the mental health and mental health benefits everybody, but I'm saying the enjoyment is really only for you. Before I drop $500 on something like that, I would think I would sit down and discuss that with my partner. So if you come to me and say, I'm going to get a PS5 and I don't feel like stuff is being done, then I'm going to be like, well, I don't know if that's the best move. You know what I mean? Like, I think some of the angst can be prevented through the conversation, or am I just idealizing marriage?
No, you're doing a very good job because you're having the conversation realistically, right? And a lot of the times on my show, we have these extreme hypotheticals, and I like to do extreme so that people can really find out where their beliefs lie when the rubber really meets the road, right? Like, you ask me, what would the amount be? It wouldn't be $500, right?
Okay.
In my mind, obviously, I don't want you to deplete all our savings, right?
Right.
So if we have $30,000 in savings, you go out and buy a car, that's a problem, right?
Right.
But the way I kind of quantify it in my mind is, if it can be purchased without being financed and not be like a really big dent in our savings, then to be honest, I don't really care, because money comes in and money goes out, and money is just kind of like this tool that we use, like water that comes out of the faucet anyway. But that's because of where I'm at financially in my life right now, right? If $500 was going to cause us to have to not pay the rent next month, obviously I'm coming in the house like, yo, like, what are you doing?
Right.
That's why we had separate accounts. That's why I had an account he had his own account, and then we had an account together for all the household stuff. Because if I want a purse, I'm gonna buy a purse. If I work every day and I got money in my account and I want a Gucci or a Louis Vuitton, I'm gonna buy it.
So why was the PS5 a problem
and
if he didn't take it from the family fund?
huh?
Then why was the PS5 a problem if he didn't take it from the family fund?
It's a problem because if he got it from his own account, I wouldn't care.
Right.
Oh, okay.
That's
The
why I said
PS5 was a problem in the hypothetical because he didn't earn, quote unquote, earn the PS5 through doing the things that he should have been doing. And that's the only place where we kind of like part ways a little bit, right? Where there becomes a median, where we're going the same way, but we on different sides. And what everyone else is saying, except for me, is that they equate him or her getting the PS5 or the vanity with his or her productivity as a housewife or a house husband. What I'm saying is I don't particularly see it that way, but I also know that perspective is based on a spectrum. So even if I say $1,000 for me, then all you would have to do to say to me is, all right, it's not a $500 PS whatever, it's a $1,500 TV movie theater screen, and then I'm on y'all side. I'm all in with y'all. So I think both perspectives are valid. It just depends on where you fall on the monetary scale.
And for me, I think I really do think it has to do with, like, I hate to say, well, it's based on your productivity, because it's not like I'm paying you to be a house husband or a housewife. Like, you don't have the ability to earn. You earn by that is your job. But my thing is like I said, it's not the item. I think it's how the item is going to be used and whether or not that item is going to F with your productivity, right? Like, and that could be a $3 book. Like, if you know I'm a reader, and you be like, Mimi, you done picked up another book. Like, you're never going to get stuff done because you keep reading it. You know what I mean? So I don't know if it's just the dollar amount so much as it is the impact of the item on the productivity in the home.
Okay. So the PS5 was triggering, so I did a good job there.
Yeah.
So
very much so.
What would be a good example of an item that a man or a woman could buy that wouldn't be as triggering? But isn't a book, because a book, I can go on Kindle right now. I got Kindle. I got tons of books in my Kindle. Like, that, I can read books for free. So then you know the issue isn't money. But if the issue is the money, because that's really where the conversation gets interesting, is the productivity being tied to the thing.
Yeah, it's the impact of the thing. So I think it's hard to say, well, this item could be good because a $3 book might not be an impact in somebody's household, but it would dang sure be one in mine. So I think it's the impact of whatever that thing is. And that's the God's. I'm being so real with you, because if you bring me a new book and I get started on it and I get into it, I'm going to read that whole book that day. Like, that's just, so it's the impact,
Okay. So that's good. That's good. So the PS5 is obviously something that takes your attention away, right? But let's just say I wanted some $500 sneakers, which ain't going to take my attention away, because I'm not just going to be sitting here looking at these sneakers. They just going to be on my feet while I'm sitting in the house. Is it still an issue?
That probably wouldn't bother me if money wasn't an issue in my household. Because like you said, I don't think the sneakers would take away from what you're supposed to be doing at home.
Okay, so I understand what Melissa's saying. Melissa's saying it's about the item's ability to take away from your attentiveness to the household, not so much about the money. Nay, if it was $500 shoes instead of a PS5, are you still beefing about the shoes? Or are you like, nah, ain't no shoes, ain't no PS5s, ain't no nothing?
Ain't no nothing.
Ain't nothing.
It's nothing. It's nothing.
I knew that answer before you even asked it.
Me too. I thought so too.
When you said sneakers, her face showed it. Like, okay.
I can't make it for something. It has to be something that's kind of, for lack of a better term, for self or selfish. Because if I make it for the house, like if you go out and buy a dishwasher, right?
Right.
All right, it's cool. You know, you can use a dishwasher to wash the dishes.
They're gonna say, what's wrong with you washing them by hand? Why we need a dishwasher? You trying to make it easier for you.
Okay.
You didn't get a dishwasher when I was doing it.
He had a dishwasher. He had the dishwasher.
I can't help him to save my life.
No, you can't. Oh,
You trying though? You trying hard too.
5 minutes save lives, so it's our job to save him. You know what I'm saying? Try to save hundreds of lives in his career, and we on this live trying to get my man out the burning house.
Yeah, but I do think it comes down to like the trust of your partner, because I mean she's been through it, right? And he wasn't getting stuff done. So in her perspective is like, no, because you ain't getting stuff done. But I think when if you can trust that your partner is gonna get stuff done, it wouldn't be so triggering no matter what the item. But if you know if you already ain't getting stuff done and you're gonna go buy something that's gonna prevent you from getting even more stuff done, that's a problem.
No. It's not about the prevention now, because he said sneakers.
Yeah, no, that's what I was saying about if you're.
It's about rewarding. She's not rewarding behavior.
That's true. Yeah.
You know what? That kind of approaches another aspect of the conversation of housewives or house husbands being compensated, and what does that look like based on the amount of money that flows into and out of the house, right?
Well, I used to say that before because it was, we had 3 incomes in the house, right? One time Alicia was out of work, and me and Jasmine had to, pick up the slack, right, so to speak. But Alicia was home with the kids, getting them off to school, watching the ones that wasn't in daycare at the time, because we had about 5 at that time, and we didn't have daycare at the time. So she had 5 small children home with her. And Jasmine used to always get upset, like, yo, she needs to go back to work so she can start contributing back in here. I'm tired of, paying a little bit more and blah, 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 right?
Right.
And I said, well, think about it. Think about what we're saving in daycare, because she's home with them. Think about what we're saving in gas, because that transport is not there. Think about all those things, and think about the fact that she's watching them all day. That's like a job, and she actually did it, cook, clean, laundry, all that stuff while she was home. She actually did all those things. So I said, in retrospect, if we paid her like we would pay a nanny, because at one time we had a nanny and we paid the nanny. I said, so we paid her like we paid the nanny, that she can contribute. So let's do that, because it couldn't compute to her that there was a value to her being home. You know what I mean? She couldn't. So I said, okay, let's pay her for a value, and we paid a little fraction of less than what the value was that we paid a nanny. And then she was able to contribute. And I said, do you not see that this is the same money?
Yeah, I'm about to, isn't that the same money? Isn't that the same money going out and coming right back into the same?
Right. Right.
But it was the lesson.
To show the value that she was bringing.
Right.
Yeah.
I like that. That's kind of cool. When I was a kid, my mom and my parents have never been divorced. Like, they've been together the whole time. But my dad had it set up so that my mom would get a check, and then it was like $200, which was obviously worth more than whatever it is now, whatever. But she would take that little $200 and do whatever she wanted to do with it. And I guess that was maybe their way of her having her own money. And she would actually have to get the check. He would take her to cash the check. And in my mind, when I got old enough, I was like, why ain't he just giving her $200? But maybe, like Marchello's saying, like that actual process.
And I think in order to even be a housewife or a house husband, you have to have a tremendous amount of trust in the person that is out there earning money, because we have to be honest in the fact that money equates independence. Like, if you don't have money, you cannot be independent. You can't go buy what you need to buy. As a woman, if I need feminine products, if I need maxi pads or deodorant or whatever, if I'm not working and I don't have dollars coming in, I don't even have the ability to provide those things for myself. So before I can be a housewife, I have to trust my husband implicitly that he is not going to use money as a way to control me, hoard it over me, any of that. So I think that process of either paying the wife or ensuring that there's a way that she has access to money, you know what I mean? Like, that is crucial, or it ain't happening for me. I could never, because I don't.
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just saying, like, I'd be terrified that, that person, wife or husband, could walk away the next day. And then what? Then I'm, ass out of luck because I don't have anything. So you really have to have the conversation, the communication, the trust, like all of that has to be there, in my opinion, for it to work.
Yeah.
which is part of valuing them, seeing it as something valuable. Because if not, then that's just going to become a real problem. If you don't think that what I'm doing at home is worthy of a PlayStation or a pair of shoes, or you know what I mean. If everything is being done, sis, okay, let me just be clear. If everything is being done, then I should be able to go out and buy whatever I would buy if I were bringing money into the home, because I am essentially still adding to the home, right?
Right.
Okay, I got a question before, and it was in my mind, and then I lost it, and I want to get it back. Melissa, I know this may not be your answer, but in general, for women in general, do you think the average woman would be okay with a house husband? Not you,
No,
the average woman.
no.
Okay, why not?
What I said when I first joined the call, societal pressures, make it like any woman that is footing the bill by society is looked at as a fool. She's looked at as taking care of a man, or why you letting that man use you, like all of that. Now, there are plenty of strong women out there who don't care what society thinks, but I don't think they are the majority. So I think for the average woman, they would not be comfortable, quote unquote, taking care of a man, even if he is doing his part at the home.
Yeah,
My opinion, but
I agree. I don't think society looks at a man and what's the word I'm looking for, and like values him based on how well he can raise
I
kids
agree.
or
I agree.
in the house, right? Like,
I agree.
who cares? I think they look at us and they say, you know, like imagine, like think about this. Think about not you, but the average woman. And
Mm-hmm.
y'all go to like her company's Christmas party, right? And the husband's there, and they walk up to the husband, and they know what you do, right? Because you work here, and they
Right.
Yep.
say, "Hey, Chels, what do you do?" And I say, "Oh, I'm a house husband."
Yep.
Like, you're gonna be able to hear a pin drop in that joint because
Yep.
society's expectations are
That's right.
so you don't do anything.
Right.
And those expectations then weigh on the woman, because then they're looking. I guarantee you that a woman who is powerful and successful at work and doing the damn thing, the minute they find out that her husband is a house husband, then they're looking at it like, oh shit, she taking care of dude. She must have bought him. He must be good in bed. Like all that mess comes into play for women. And now she is dealing with all of that just like he would be. All of that judgment. It's a different kind of judgment, but she's going to catch judgment from that too. And that's why I don't think most women would be comfortable doing it.
Yeah, I agree. Nate, you got anything before I let you slide off? You stayed with me a long time today, and
A lot.
I appreciate you.
Hey, Kels, I'm gonna drop off. I got a working situation going.
All right, my brother, do your thing.
All right.
I appreciate you.
Okay. Bye-bye.
No, not you. Don't leave yet.
Oh.
Yeah, you stay here for a second. Yeah, I wanted to give you an opportunity to say something in closing if you wanted to, end it out before we roll, before you roll.
Well, in closing, I don't want to seem like I was just like dogging the guy, but I mean, even though I was, but he did save us some money, and it was short term. It probably lasted like maybe 4 months, and then it was over. So, but yeah, it was just something that I didn't particularly like. I don't think I would like it now, even if it was another person, even if they cleaned. I don't know if I would really be okay with it.
Yeah.
I just feel like you say, women usually have a purpose as far as, taking care of the kids and the household and stuff like that. My parents were also married forever until my father passed. His duties were to go to work, and all the outside work was him. My mother took care of inside the home. She never cut grass, never did any of that, never took out the garbage. So that's how I was raised. And so that's how I look at it. It's good if both of us can, both be working and come home and then share some of the duties in the home as far as taking care of the kids and cleaning up. But for it to just be all on one person, I don't really particularly care for that either. I think it should be shared. If both are going to work and they're both, bringing home a nice income, then the duties at home should be shared as well. It
Should
shouldn't just be all. It shouldn't just be all on the woman.
I got you. Let me ask you this though. Do you think the household chores or whatever we're calling them should be shared equally? If there was a way for us to quantify it equally, do you think it should be 50-50, or do you think that
I'll say 60-40. Just
60 for the woman?
yeah, 60 for the woman.
Melissa, you like that? You like 60-40?
Hell no. No, sir. Hell to the nah. Let me say that. Look, if I'm working and you're working, then we share 50-50 in this house. But I will say that 50-50 to me is not like, okay, and this is probably where I'm very different. I don't do gender roles, right? At all. Um, if I'm comfortable taking out the trash and you want to do the laundry as the man, go for it. It's what works in our home, right? I may not like washing dishes. You may like washing. I don't like to cook. If I have a man that likes to cook, then he cooks, I'll clean, I'll do the, you know what I mean? So for me though, it might be 60-40 today and, 20-80 tomorrow. It's doing what needs to be done in the house. As long as that's not falling on one person more than the other all the time, then I just feel like we got to do what we got to do to get stuff done in this house. So if I come home one day and you've had a super rough day at the office, then I might do everything that day. But then it might be a day that I come home and I just don't feel like, and then you may do it. But if that's always the case, if one person is always doing more than the other person, I guarantee you resentment is going to build up. And that's not good for any relationship.
So that makes me think about, as a kid, right? My mom was like OCD. So we weren't allowed to clean. We weren't allowed to do anything. And
Me in the kitchen, that's why I don't cook.
Oh, okay. So now
my grandmother never taught me.
You still don't cook?
I mean, I can. I don't like it necessarily. I do what I need to do for me, but keep in mind, it's just me. So if I want to cook a pot of spaghetti and eat off that sucker for 4 days, that's what I do.
That's what
Yeah.
Yeah. So I know with me, one of the imaginary blocks that I have is not doing housework good enough. Right. So I'll do the things that I know my wife would like me to help her do because I work nights, so I'm at home during the day. So sometimes I'm at home by myself, and she likes lines in the carpet.
4 p.m.
Oh, why you stop, Siri? Hold on. I don't like that. I don't like CIA listening to my. But like things that I do that I'm self-conscious about, right? Is I'll empty the dishwasher, but I don't know where everything goes.
Yeah.
So some of the stuff is just her stuff. Like I'm never gonna touch it. I'm not gonna use it cooking. I don't know what this thing's called, and I'll just leave it like on the island. And then when I see her, I'll be like, hey, I emptied the dishwasher, right? But it's these 3 things over here. I didn't really know where they went to, and I've been in my mind. I'm trying to make sure that she's not gonna do what my mom used to do and be like, I should have just done it myself.
I don't think so, though, Chels. And I'm going to tell you something. And that's what I think. And I'm so sorry. I don't know your name. That's on this live with us.
Renee, but
okay, Renee. That's what I think she's saying, though. Like, if you were making the effort, I think it's really sweet that you do everything except the little stuff you don't know how to do. That's a hell of a lot better than coming home to a dishwasher full of dishes that you got to put away after you done worked all day. I'll put away the spatula, bruh. I got that. I'll put away the griddle pan. I got that. But don't make me come home and empty a whole dishwasher if you've been home all day. So that's the whole thing. It's the effort in it. And I will say, there are certain things like we just talked about, certain things we may not be good at or we don't feel like we're good at. Do what you can do. If it's a big enough problem, she'll let you know. But if not, at least it's the effort. I'm telling you, and I think that's the case for most women. We want to see effort. We want to see that you are trying. Right. And when we cool. And especially since you work nights and you still trying to do stuff during the day, like on a day that you by yourself, when you got the kids, okay, you up anyway. But you done worked all night, you home by yourself, you could very easily be playing that PlayStation 5.
Right.
I'll be getting them.
And that's why I said 40, because there are some things that I just would rather do.
Gotcha.
So I think that I would do a better job than, you know, my husband or a man. It's just some things that I probably would do, not even wanting him to do it.
To touch him. Gotcha.
Just the way that I want it done.
Okay. All right, Nate, Renee. I know your name for the whole name. Now I call you Nate. My sister's name is Shanae. I call her Nate sometimes too.
Okay.
But I appreciate you coming on.
Thank you.
It's good to see you again.
Okay.
All right, appreciate you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Peace. Hey, Melissa, I'm gonna let you slide off in 1 second if you want to.
That'll work. Yeah, that'll work. What's up?
But don't leave yet. I had a question. What was my question? And then I'll bring somebody else in too to get their opinion. Oh, so I don't really have it completely out, tangible in my mind. But if the man makes it, let's say they're both working, but the guy actually makes enough money to sustain the whole family financially, and the wife works because she chooses to work. If that you in the woman's position, would you request to bring a percentage of your income into, say, the bills?
I would. And I admit I'm probably very different from a lot of people, but for me, it is about contributing, right? If you make enough to pay every bill in the house, that still don't mean you should have to. Now, if you okay with doing it and you say, no, you insisting, but if not, I'm going to want to contribute, because if nothing else, that's building our nest egg even bigger. You know what I mean? So I'm not going to just take my paycheck and spend it all on me, even if you can afford all the bills, because let's take trips. You know what I mean? We can build a bigger nest egg if we are both contributing. So I don't care if it's the smallest bills in the house, I'm going to want to pay something. And that would make me feel like I'm doing my part.
Okay. That makes sense. I like that. I know for me personally, my wife doesn't have to pay any of the bills.
Mm-hmm.
She wanted to pay something, so I was like, we could just pay the car insurance.
Right.
And
that's why.
Does the groceries and stuff too. She does the grocery shopping, which now that's a whole nother bill in itself. But and I had never really thought about it. You said something that I had never really thought about too, in terms of like the level of trust that is required in the person who is the only person bringing in the money. Like, wow.
Yes, indeed. Yes, and because then it's a shame that we have to think like that, but the reality, right? If our partner walked out on us tomorrow, the one that's earning the money, and I've heard so many stories of it happening, especially to women. Not saying it doesn't happen to men, but especially to women who were housewives, who never worked, and then and I'll give you a complete flip side. What if they don't just walk away? What if they're taken away? See, my mother had no income. My mother was a single mother of five. I'm sorry, not a single mother, a mother of 5 children, stayed at home. My father took care of everything. My father was murdered. So in a matter of a day, now she has 5 children to take care of, no money, no education. So she had to go out and make it happen the way she could make it happen. And I never want to be in that position where I'm so dependent on one other person that if something happens to them or they walk away or something like that, then I'm hands in the air, don't know what to do.
So
So it takes trust.
So that the position that you hold, right? That's the position that men just hold, period. You know what I mean? That's why men are, that's why we are the way we are when it comes to getting out and protecting and providing, because
I get that.
There ain't the safety net for us. It ain't as thick and tight and luscious and mattress and pillows and feathers as it is for women. So in our mind, the mindset that you have, that's how we carry it the whole time. So
that's because that's how we was taught since we was young. Like my granddad always taught me, like, if nothing handled, they not gonna look at it and say they didn't take care of their family. They gonna look at it and say he didn't take care of his family.
I get that.
So
yeah,
it's more so like that's how we was raised. So it kind of stuck.
But do you think
that's how we look at everything?
Do y'all think that that's, I don't want to say fair because I hate the word fair, but do you think that's just the way it is and should be?
I don't think it's the way it should be, which is why I said even if I didn't have to, I would want to contribute. That's when we talk about mental health, imagine that on your mental health, right? All that weight. Yeah, all that weight on your shoulders as a man, like carrying that weight, that's some heavy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It causes a lot of what we go through as a society, all of those mental issues and shit. A
Yep.
lot of that pressure and that weight that they place on just guys, or certain pressures and weights that they place on just females, is what causes a lot of mental issues.
And that's why I feel like that even if I didn't have to contribute, I would want to contribute. I would want to show my partner that I'm there, I'm
And
in it, I'm giving, I'm working, I'm doing this for us, just like you are.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
that could
we'll
be even
see.
if I was a housewife for real. Like that could still be if I was a housewife, right? But I'm gonna make sure. That's why I'm gonna make sure stuff get done. That's why I'm gonna make sure stuff get done. So when you come home, you don't have that extra pressure from you know what I mean. So that's all of that. So let me be, let me contribute it in some way.
Right. I got you.
Okay,
All right. Hey, real quick, King, what's your name?
who, me?
Yeah.
Everybody call me Kyo.
What they call you? What?
Kyo. Everybody call me Kyo.
Kel? K like Kel?
KYO.
KYL.
Oh, Kyo.
Yeah, Kyo.
Oh
Yeah,
wow.
okay,
So
that's nice. I like that. That's
yeah. So,
different.
welcome to the show. You asked something in the comments about a question. What was the question
Yeah,
you were trying to
I was just about to bring that up. My question is, so if a guy doesn't have money, but he can build and create anything that you need from scratch, is he valuable?
Hell yeah. Now, I'm probably the wrong one to ask, right? You might have been better off asking, like, I don't know if Renee would agree with me on that. But, like, I was saying I could have a house husband. I would have no problem having a house husband as long as he is
That doesn't.
contributing.
That, I'm saying, take money out the equation.
Yeah,
Take money out the
absolutely.
equation. If he can build you a house,
right.
and build and create everything that you need from scratch, as well as go out hunting and all of that, is that a valuable man?
Absolutely. In my opinion, Kel, to be honest, a man that's contributing is a valuable man.
But that guy actually has more value than the guy who brings money. Right?
Exactly.
Because when
Exactly.
the economic systems crash, he's still valuable. I could be
He's
a
got the
billionaire.
he is the
I can't build
resource.
you a house. We're gonna be rich and cold, right? So, and if you think about it too, as you delve deeper into money and what it really means, what money really means, it's really just something that you trade for the value of something else.
Of something else.
So if
Yeah.
you already
It's a
built a house, I don't need the money, right? I may need the money to get the resources to build it, right? But to be able to build it, if I have the resources, then you being able to build me a house actually saves me money.
That's what I was just going to say because now I don't have a mortgage. Yeah, but I hear your question, Kill, and I say absolutely because I feel like the value is in the contribution, regardless of what that contribution is. If that contribution is house husband, taking care of the house while I work, that's a contribution. That's value. If it's being able to, I don't know, like I'm so crazy. If he's able to take care of me and make me feel good when I'm home and he's the ear I need and he's the protection I need, then he's valuable. It's not about his dollar because real talk, I'm out here working every day. I can take care of me financially. I don't need that. I want that. Don't get me wrong. I want help financially, but I take care of myself every day, all day. Raise the kid by myself every day, all day. So at the end of the day, the dollars don't mean much to me. That's why I said I'm probably not the best person to ask that question.
What you got?
okay. I was gonna say, as far as what money is, like, it's a valueless barter system. It's
Yeah,
literally
it's all
just
right.
giving you a value to
Paper.
equate to. But
Yeah.
in all honesty, what do we do with money besides get it and give it away?
Yep, it's paper. And it's paper. Like you stop and think about it. I'm giving you something valuable like food and you giving me a piece of paper. Like
That part.
yeah,
It's
we
like
really need
I
to
owe you, sister.
know. Yeah.
Well, I think the thing about it is the people who are smart understand that. And what they do
Yeah.
is they go get assets. So when you hear about these people who are billionaires, they're not walking into a bank like, hey, can I get $1 billion? They have $1 billion value of company, of actual assets, of real property. So the idea really isn't to, like, they taught us to save our money. That wasn't really the smartest way. It wasn't the most unintelligent way, but there was more to it than saving. Because if your money's sitting in the bank, it's losing value. You see that with inflation. But if you took that money and you put it into an asset that grows, then you no longer have the money, but you have the asset, right? And this is what they do. And then they turn around and borrow the money from the asset and never have to pay taxes on it. And then they use that to get another asset. And you just rinse and repeat over and over again. Now, it sounds simple in theory, right? It's a little bit more difficult in process. But the idea isn't to get the money and hold it. And I just realized that not too long ago. That's why rich people keep working. They're still gathering assets. It's not about the money. They could just cash out and go drink margaritas on the beach. But it's about the assets. So I think that's pretty dope. That's you got anything else, my man, to add before I let you slide off?
Well, I mean, I was gonna say, no, that was pretty much my like slide
I
in.
just want to say, Kill, your voice is really dope. I don't know if you do a podcast or music or anything like that, but your voice is really, you have a really nice voice.
Thanks. I ain't even like I am a singer and I
Okay.
do make music. I was thinking about starting a podcast, but my singing voice is different from this, so
I can imagine, but it's a nice voice. I just wanted to say that.
thank
Yeah.
you.
Get
You're
you.
welcome.
You
You
have a
got
nice take on things. I
Thank
actually
you.
like both of your takes on a lot of these subjects. You feel me?
Thank you.
no doubt, no doubt. Do you have if you don't have your podcast like Mike and all of that good stuff, just get the Anchor app.
Okay.
Get the Anchor app. That joint sweet. You can put it right from your phone. It let you do intros, all of that good stuff, and then that'll get you jumped off. You can have a podcast by tomorrow.
Oh, I'm gonna do that.
For real, yo. It's
And
resourceful. You just put it
I'm
out.
gonna play with that. I'm gonna play with that.
Yes, look into it. That's what I did. I haven't
said
made this a podcast.
Anchor,
I would join. Yeah. So, but I appreciate you, my brother.
Anchor with a C or a K.
ANCHOR.
Okay. Just making sure I know they be like
It's a purple
this.
app. Yeah.
While we're doing it, I wanted to comment on something Gwenny Vet Singh says. She said, I couldn't get with this one time back because my dad raised me and I had expectations of how a man operates. But she was saying that she could definitely see the value in a house husband these days. And I just wanted to say to her, Gwen, that's exactly what I said when I first started talking with them. Was if you had asked me that question, because he asked me, could I have a house husband? And I said, if you had asked me that question a few years ago, I'd have said, hell no. Because I had this, idea that society gave me that a man that doesn't work isn't a man. If he don't have a job, if he ain't bringing in money. But as I get older and wiser, I agree with you. I see that value so clearly now that I didn't before.
Well, it's more to it than just being. I feel like it's more to it than just being a house husband or house spouse. My thing is like with with a lot of people I deal with, I just do for them when I want to do for them and when I feel good enough to do for them, regardless. So it's like I'm gonna do things, and whether they like it or not, whether it upset them or it make them feel good, I'm gonna do it. And I feel like it's all about communication at the end of the day. As long as I've let people know beforehand and after. So I feel like the true meaning behind chivalry is just doing for those who need help at the end of the day. And if you need help, I'm gonna help you.
I like that.
So
So when I think
it's
about, I'm a cop, right? So when I think about it, but I've never really thought about chivalry in terms of when people need help. I never thought of it as being chivalrous, to be honest.
because
I,
they've diluted the meaning, making it seem like it's supposed to be genderfied, but it's not genderfied at all.
now
Chivalry is all encompassing.
I get that. I get that. I think I always looked at chivalry as something that you do just because it's your nature to do so. So like I think humans I think I don't know if the word is sentient beings, right? Like one cat will go save it will put its life on the line to save another cat because that's just the primal thing that we do to help, right? That's just what we do. And I'm not saying you're wrong. I just never thought of it that way. When I think of chivalry, I think of chivalry as I'm doing something because it's just my nature to do so, not because this particular personal thing needs help. So like if I'm walking up to the door,
but it's in my nature to help people. So if I see that you're in need of help, I'm gonna help.
right? And I
So
understand.
if that's in my nature, that's in my nature. But at the same time, if chivalry is in your nature, chivalry is in your nature.
Right, right. And that's what I'm saying. I never looked at chivalry from a standpoint of someone who needed help, right? I looked at that as a primal response to someone who's in need. I thought of chivalry as something to where I know Melissa can open the door for herself, but I'm going to do it anyway. She doesn't need my help
Anyway,
opening the
you're
door,
right.
right? That's how I always looked at it.
But see, I'm
And
gonna open the door for Melissa and John because
right,
Yeah.
both of them, although they didn't want my help or even need it, I'm still gonna help.
Offering it.
If the possibility of help is there, that's what it is. If the
And
possibility of help is there, take that
I think it
possibility
might
of help.
make it click a little bit too if you even say assist, right? If you take it
That's it.
away
There you go.
from helping, because for some reason when we hear help, we think
Help.
of a person being in need or the damsel in distress. But when you hear assist, that just means I'm lending a hand.
right,
So it's chivalry in that regard. I'm lending you a hand. I'm gonna hold this door open for you. You don't need it, but I'm gonna assist you with it. You see
right,
what I'm
That
saying?
part.
I'm assisting you by holding this door open. I'm assisting you by making sure you're not walking on this side of a street if that's something that you believe in. That, just some old school chivalrous acts. So I think if you replace that word with assist, and I hear you because I thought the same thing, Chels. I wouldn't think of being chivalrous as necessarily helping someone, but it absolutely it's assisting, and assisting and helping is interchangeable for real.
yeah,
And I also feel like we have caused a superiority complex in humans. Period. I feel like as our job is to be caretakers and overseers, but yet we take that opportunity. It was a double-edged sword, and we took the extra sharp side, and so we've basically gave ourselves a superiority complex, thinking, oh, it's okay to do certain things that in actuality is technically the same thing as what we're saying is wrong.
I'm confused. What do you mean?
Like, for instance, people have, although I'm not gonna say like I'm just this like big hippie person or anything, or a tree hugger or nothing, but at the same time, we've come to devalue life, and that's why it's been so much.
Are you talking about like other than human life? You talking about like
Other than human life,
okay,
that part.
got you.
Like, we make it like it's okay to kill baby plants or baby animals, but if you kill a human baby, you're wrong. You kill a human adult, you're wrong. But killing off other life forms is okayed in people's mind.
Or like
And
we
eventually
think,
it became okay to kill other humans as long as you feel you have the right reason.
or like we always, I always equate that to like, we'll eat a cow, right? But oh my God, we won't eat a dog. They're
That
both
part,
animals.
that part.
You know what I mean? Like real talk though,
Or
we put levels on it. Like when we
yeah,
see other
like I can't
countries might
stand a
eat.
vegan
Yeah,
or a vegetarian.
other countries might eat cats and dogs. We look at it like, oh my God, that's so gross. But they might look at us and say, oh my God, you eat cows. Oh my God,
Nah,
you know,
they do, they
like
do, they do.
there is, yeah, a lot of them do, especially the Hindu, right? Because that's their holy animal. But I get what he's saying in that regard is that we think that we are so superior to everything else that we get to pick and choose which life is valuable and which one isn't.
Right. But so if you look at if you follow like some of the political stuff, there's this game that's being played of moral superiority, right?
Hmm.
And him talking about the trees and the plants made me think about the people who are vegetarian and vegan. And I'm not
That's that part.
vegetarians or vegans, right? But what they'll do is they'll make it seem like we're morally superior to you because we don't eat animals. But
But y'all still eating a living thing.
hold on. But if you believe in God, the universe, or whatever, and you believe that thing is
Energy.
everywhere, then it's all alive, right? So eating the cow is really no different than you eating the lettuce, because the lettuce has consciousness in it too, right?
That
Absolutely.
part, and that's what I was about to bring up
That's what
next.
he was getting at. Yeah,
Right.
I
I
was
think
just
that's what
about
he's
to get
getting
at
at.
that
Is that
because it's
we've
like
given ourselves that superiority complex when the truth of the matter is all of us are guilty of the same shit.
Right.
exactly the same thing goes for the fact that we live in a synergy. You feel me? So it's like we need, just like it's a balance. It's a balance to everything. Basically, everything is balanced, and we throw off the balance by all of the destruction that we cause, the excess destruction that we cause. You feel me? Like, for instance, all of the cutting down trees and stuff. But what do trees breathe in that we breathe out? What do we
Carbon
breathe out?
monoxide
Right.
What do we breathe in that they breathe
that they
out?
produce.
What is
Yeah.
it?
They
Carbon dioxide?
and oxygen.
Right.
They breathe in carbon. Plants breathe in carbon dioxide
Right.
and exhale oxygen.
Oxygen. It's
Right.
the circle of life.
But versus us, us uh, oxygen breathers who breathe out carbon dioxide, which they need to survive, and breathe in the oxygen, which we need to survive, which we get from them.
But
It's a
we think we
synergy.
we can go just cut it down and it doesn't have an impact and put up all these buildings and we're not thinking of that.
The key is value
Yeah,
life.
Right.
yeah, I hear you.
It's sad that a serial killer in a show said it better than anybody else could. Either value all life or value no life.
But see, that's the
Hmm.
so. And this is in closing, because I gotta get off here. I gotta go eat and I gotta get ready to go to work. Um,
Same here.
I was on here for 3 hours yesterday, so I'm like, nah, I can't be on here 3 hours. But like I said, there's just this game of moral superiority that's going on in a lot of different facets, and I'm pretty good at inverting my thought. Right, I can see how I can be extreme on the right, and I can see how I can be extreme on the left. So sometimes people don't like having those conversations with me, because I can take a position that I disagree with, and I can argue that position, right? Simply because two extremes aren't that far apart on the spectrum.
Yeah,
It's just
That's another thing.
one, and
I
one
don't.
prefers the other, right? But I think if we start to have empathy for one another and genuinely understand that everybody's really just trying to do the best that they can in whatever it is that they're doing, and they really want the best for themselves and their family and the people that they love, then you can understand why people do what it is that they
they do.
do.
Yep,
And that's the true meaning of empathy. It's easy to be empathetic to something that you've been through. It's harder to be empathetic to something that you disagree with. When you
absolutely,
something you disagree with, that's when you're really empathetic.
absolutely.
So other than that, I appreciate y'all. It's been good. I love
I
y'all.
missed you. I missed you. I missed you.
I missed you. And I
Really.
made a friend. I don't know how to say your name because I can't understand it over the. Is it Kill? Kyle?
Yo,
Joe. It's like saying Cho, but with KY. Cho.
Kyo. Kyo.
Right.
yeah,
Kyo. Oh, okay. I got it.
yeah,
Well, I appreciate
yeah.
y'all, and I love y'all, and I'll be back tomorrow at 5:30. So if y'all want to join then we'll have a new topic for
And
you.
before y'all go, I might as well hit y'all with some vocals since she brought up the fact of my
Yes,
voice.
I'd love to hear it.
Whoa, oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Very different. Yeah, but very nice. Thank you for sharing.
Hey,
All
y'all
right.
know what to do.
Peace, love,
All
and
right.
chicken grease, y'all.
Don't log
Till
off.
next time.
I'm gonna hit the button. Y'all stay there and make the editing easy for me.
Okay.
Be
With
good,
it.
be great, hug your loved ones, take care of your family, all that good stuff. And if you need a good life coach, hit me up. Take your power back. Peace.